What's going on, guys? It's your boy Motorbike Maniac, and I'm finally back out on the road. Sorry if I'm talking with a little bit of a lisp here. Kind of missing a tooth at the moment. But as it says, the old CBR is totaled. So we were out riding. This was like two weeks ago or so. I just went out riding on an evening ride, and long story short, we were just out riding, having fun, and came through this S-curve, and they had redid the road there, and basically they built up the edges with all that stone and everything, and they didn't clean it off, and I came into the second part of the S-curve, and we just didn't quite turn. We just kind of slid away on the gravel, and slid through the S-curve a little bit, and I'll show you a picture here. It gets like straight up here, and we kind of picked the bike back up before we slid into the grass and drove straight and just poof, straight off like down into the ditch, and away I went, Supermaning, or so I assume. I literally don't remember any of it at all. It's just completely blacked out. I remember turning down the road. In fact, listen, why don't we just go there? I remember turning down the road, and for some reason I have like this fuzzy memory of standing up on the bike like right before we hit the ditch. And other than that, I remember being in the ambulance a little bit. I was talking to them, but I have no idea what we were talking about or anything there. And then I remember just laying in the hospital bed. I don't really remember the transition into the ambulance or into the hospital bed or anything like that. So it's all really fuzzy. So bright side is I don't remember it all, so I'm not really gun shy. I just hop back up on her and go. The downside is I smashed my motorcycle all to pieces, and I broke myself up pretty good. Like I said earlier, I'm missing a tooth because the way my microphone was sitting inside here. Apparently when I smashed my face onto the ground, that microphone just pushed like through my lip and through my tooth and just knocked it clean out. Didn't break it or anything, just knocked it clean out. And then it put a hole, well, it cut the, let's go around you, sir. It cut the outside of my lip where it had pushed into it, and then the inside was just like shredded from where my tooth like broke out and just tore through it. I think they said I had 12 stitches, and that was like on the inside of the right upper part of my lip, so it must have been pretty nasty up inside there. And then my jaw, where my lip, or where my tooth came out of, it broke up top, so the upper part of my jaw is broken, which I guess I'm supposed to have a doctor's appointment to check up on that tomorrow to see if it's healing. And then I broke my like lower pelvic region, something like that. Like, I guess I have a break in my pelvis and it's just like cracked through, but it didn't displace or anything like that. It didn't shift or come apart. So they said they wouldn't do surgery on that. So they basically told me just to go walk around on it and put weight on it as I could, and as long as it didn't hurt too bad, just to walk around on it. So I figure if I can walk around on it, I can ride a motorcycle, right? Seems fair to me. And then the obvious, I had a massive concussion, which is why I'm left with zero memory of it. Not really a fun time, I'll tell you that much. I spent like 20 hours in the hospital, which I guess isn't bad, you know. Some people spend like 4 days in there. I'm sure I would have spent more if I would have had some serious damage. I was just kind of banged up. Little broken stuff, nothing crazy requiring surgery or anything. But the face is what sucked. I couldn't eat or drink anything. My lip was swollen like 9 times the size of it normally is, so I couldn't like really close my mouth, and I just sat there like swallowing blood because my tooth and my lip were bleeding, and it just wasn't a very fun time. I had like, I think 3 cups of applesauce in the 20 hours that I spent there. Then I had to do all kinds of tests before they'd let me leave. I had to like get up for the physical therapist so she could make sure I could stand, and I had to talk to this head trauma doctor, and then I had to do one of their little head trauma tests, which was basically like a memory kind of game. It's like a little worksheet that you would give to like a 10-year-old or something like that. I had to like match patterns and continue the pattern. They showed me pictures of like a giraffe and a rhino and stuff like that, and I had to tell them what it was. I had to count backwards from 100, subtracting 7, and then she told me like 5 different words in the middle of it, and I had to repeat them back to her, and then I had to remember them and repeat them back to her at the end of the test as well. And that was kind of the determining factor if my brain was okay and if I could go home. So after all that, they finally let me go. So I remember coming up here. I remember we turned here, and then I turned left right up here. Yep. We turned left right here, County Road 38. Yeah. This is the old road that got me. So it still looks pretty good here, but like, see all this clean awesomeness? Well, this clean, awesome gravel was in the road for me. So I don't remember driving down this at all. I don't remember this road at all, so. And I don't think I've ever really been down here, so I couldn't even tell you where this road goes. Left, right, up, down. I'm sure I've been down here once in my life, because it's here where I live, but no memory of this at all on my CBR. But apparently I rode down through here and all around here, and then up here at this intersection we didn't quite keep riding. So yes, that's why I haven't had any videos up in a little while. I was kind of messed up. Really hard to talk for a while because I had a gigantic lip and I couldn't close my mouth, and this old tooth is really bothersome too. That part's just annoying. But I also obviously I couldn't motovlog, I couldn't ride. My hip was, or my pelvis, whatever it was, hurt pretty good for quite a while. Like the first week was super hard to walk and super hard to pick my own legs up, and I kind of had to be taken care of. So this is probably the S-curve here. Yeah, this is it right here. So it's all cleaned up now, but it wasn't. So we come up here, and right here we just slid and we drove straight through there, right into that lady's yard. Oh, you can still see. I'll see if I can zoom in on that. You can see where my tires hit. But I jumped off the road there into her yard and bounced away. But it's nice to see that now that an accident happened, they cleaned up the road and everything, so that's cool of them. Probably should have done that after you redid the road, but you know, whatever. I don't work for the state. So that brings me to my next point of my new track bike, which is my CBR. Because I'll show you guys some pictures of it here, and it's definitely messed up, but it's not as bad as you would think for it being totaled. From the looks of the bike, it looks like we hit the ditch, flipped over, broke everything off right here. All this stuff broke off, and it flipped and then hit the tail section and broke everything off the tail section. It split the subframe, it just broke the subframe in half. And so there was nothing left of it. But as far as like the sides and all that stuff goes, like nothing was really messed up. So the rear sets are good. My Yoshi exhaust is all good. Excuse me. The rear sets are good. The Yoshi exhaust is all good. Let's go this way. Or is this like a little housing thing? Oh, this probably is. Yeah, I don't know if I can get out back here. No, because I remember coming back here actually. But I don't think you can. So anyways, like I said, you know, like the rear sets, they were good because it hit the grass. You know, it didn't bounce off the road and bounce around and tear everything up there. So rear sets are good. The main frame of it is good. The forks are actually good. Like I was almost certain that the forks would have been bent, but the forks are actually good. The side fairings, like you could reuse. The right one has a little bit of a hole in it, or a cracked part in it that you could like punch out to a hole. And there might be some tabs broken on like the lower part of it. I haven't really looked at them too good, but like overall they were still completely intact and everything like that. So you could use them, but then I would have to like buy a new headlight assembly, a new front fairing piece, because you can't really, the race fairings, it's a front, like a whole front like clip, so it replaces the front piece and the side fairings on it, and then it has a lower part that attaches to it, which replaces like the lower part of the side fairings and the belly pan. So if you wanted to reuse the side fairings, you'd have to buy a new headpiece, and then if you didn't put a headlight in it, then you just have this giant ugly hole. So you can't really reuse the side fairings anyways. But we're going to slap some race fairings on it. We're going to pick up a subframe, a used subframe, and just stick it on there. And I do have to figure out something with the gauge display, because my gauge display is trashed. So I need to find a new one of those. Well, I shouldn't say trash, like it's the glass is broken. I guess I really haven't checked to see if it works still, but the glass is definitely broken. I would think it's trashed, given it got like ripped out of the bike and everything, but I don't know. But we'll have to figure something out with that, because I do at least need a display. I have to be able to see my tack. Kind of hard to ride without that. But we'll get a couple of those issues taken care of, and be my new track bike. So this old girl, I don't know what I'm gonna do with her. Like, I was thinking about selling it because I got to get a new street bike, which I won't tell you guys what that is. We'll wait for that. But at the same time, I don't want to get rid of it. I just love this bike. It's Old Faithful here. Been through everything. She's been my street bike, she's been my backup bike, she's been my track bike, it's my hooligan bike that I can just go slam around and not care. And she works great every day. I just don't really want to get rid of her. But we'll see what happens. But I plan to make a couple videos here with the progression on the CBR as kind of like a mini build series. There's not too much going into the build. I'm just making it a track bike, so I'll be doing stuff like getting rid of the handlebar switches, and I was thinking about getting some extended clip-ons to try those out. And then, like I said, the race fairings and stuff like that. But we'll make a little series out of it, or a little video, you know, whatever. Show you guys what's going on with it.